So this film, I really wanted to like it. I really wanted to like it a little more. But as it turns out, it is a little more frustrating than rewarding. Hi guys, this is Farhad and welcome back to my channel Popcorn Reviews. If you're new to this channel, then please smash that subscribe button now. And as a video ritual, remember to like and comment on the video. Liking and commenting helps fuel the YouTube algorithm. And today, the film that we are going to be discussing is the Telugu film called Kingdom. And this film was touted as the comeback of Vijay Deverakonda. The comeback was there, but I wish the film was a little better. And the typical mode of this film is of the chosen one or the Masiha, as you can say. This same template, and this is a good template by the way to have, the same template can also be, referenced with films like Bahubali, for example. And keeping that in mind, the written material of Kingdom had the moments, it had everything going for it, but it unfortunately did not convert on celluloid the way it had to. And it just brings me back to the memories of Jersey. And Jersey, why I bring Jersey is because the same director Gowtam, he had directed Jersey, and one of the reasons why Jersey had worked was because of the emotional core. It was a father and son story which acted as a redemption arc. Cricket was not the main highlight of the film. It was an integral part of the film, but it was not the main highlight of the film. The main highlight was the father and son story, which held the emotional connect in the drama right until that fabulous climax which was there. And it actually made you shed tears while investing in the journey of the protagonist. This film had the emotional core, but it didn't tap into it. So, coming to the story and screenplay, if I have to be very honest, the cold open of Kingdom was an interesting one. And the story opens in the 1920s when you are introduced to a small community or a clan who's attacked by the British, who are after the gold. And in that same very moment, you have their king, the king of the clan, dying, but assuring his people that there will be a descendant that would actually arrive years from now. That was a very interesting start, a very powerful start, I would say, to a drama which actually had the right amount of intrigue in the very cold open which was there. Cut to when you're introduced to the character of Suri, which is played by Vijay Deverakonda, 70 years after the cold open takes place. You see him as a very innocent kind of a constable. You don't see the aggressive streak or a raw streak. And it was again a refreshing antithesis of a typical commercial hero that you would normally associate in a mass masala entertainer. This is not your typical mass masala entertainer also, and that is a welcome change as far as I'm concerned. Given this subject material, it was something different with the same Messiha concept or the chosen one concept that you actually wanted to present in a good way, is what I'm saying. And here is where the emotional core of the story was as well. Suri's seeking for his missing elder brother called Shiva, and a little montage tells you about their emotional core which is there. Now I really wish that this emotional core was the defining factor of the screenplay, because after a point this gets absolutely skewed, and that is where the issue with the structure of the screenplay, I would say, is. And when I say the germ, you see how the germ is shifting from a chosen one messiah to an emotional core, to further in the story when you get to know that Suri is sent on a covert operation across the sea to Sri Lanka to gain intel about a cartel gang who's dealing with weapons. Now, see, this is again a shifting core and shifting germ of the idea, which I felt the drama was trying to be too much with it. It was trying to overstuff a lot of the writing techniques as opposed to a simplistic approach of focusing only on the brother or the sibling dynamic that is there, which was the emotional core, as I said. So, in all of this, the emotional core slightly gets sidelined, or even for that matter, slightly skewed. And I say skewed in a very typical sense because it remains unfocused on everything that it is trying to say in the process. This is not to say that the film is a complete train wreck. No, it is very watchable. Some sequences work perfectly in isolation. For example, the jail sequence that is there, featuring Suri, who leading up to the fact that he's meeting his brother for the first time after a while. I think that was a very well executed sequence. Another well executed sequence was, in the sea, when a boat, it's almost like a Noah's Ark kind of a reference, in which Suri has to, gain access to the gold which is with the air bases of the Sri Lankan authorities. It is a direct parallel to the cold open, remember the British were after the gold as well. So I see these references that are there. In another scene, you also see a woman, meeting her child for the first time in a hospital. Why the first time? Because the island in which all the characters are based, particularly the tribals, which is what the story is about, the tribals who do not have access to going to India. Indian government doesn't take them under their custody, and they are used for smuggling by these cartels. They aren't allowed to leave the island. It's similar to the situation that Suri's mother has with her eldest child. She hasn't been seen, but the issue is that the character, the mother, isn't in the setup, you can say. She's back at her home, and so the impact is a little diluted. The issue though is the covert operation, which is so loosely executed that it actually is a little underwhelming, so to say. And why do I say underwhelming is because the character who's handling the covert operation, in this case the character of Manish Chaudhary, I think he plays the character of Jay Prakash. So Jay Prakash doesn't have clarity about what the covert operation is. It's almost like you are taking a chance with the people and just doing things, sending informers, leaving them hay and stray, and I don't know what you're doing with the information that you have at hand. It's none of it is clear, basically, or rather not shown, and I think that takes away the sheen from the drama. Another issue is also with the antagonist, which is too one tone with the characterization. There are no shades to the character, only having to hate and have only one sort of an emotion, which again doesn't really have the same kind of impact as a layered sort of an antagonist, so to say. And this is where the second half of the film also suffers from. The second half of the film doesn't up the ante, so to say. It moves at an autopilot at the same wavelength, and I think that was also one of the issues that I had. It never elevated the game in the second hour with a decent setup that was there in the first hour. This also was the contributing factor, as I said, of a lack of an emotional core, which I, after a point, did not care about the two brothers at all. And this was such a shame because there was a twist a little before the finale, where if the emotional core of the film was intact, this would have had a better payoff. Having said that, the film works entirely on the final act, wherein the protagonist absolutely goes wild, and I think that is something that I absolutely loved. It was unhinged, raw, but at the same time, it made me question about the idea of running into a part 2, and I think this is happening far too often, with the Tamil film industry, with the Telugu film industry. You don't see that too much with the Malayalam film industry, that the part 2, you're dividing a story into two parts for the sake of it. I feel it's not always the case. You can't always make a Bahubali, sometimes it's okay to make an isolated RRR as well, and I think that is the lesson that most Telugu filmmakers in particular need to understand, that you don't need to make a film into part 1 and part 2. Focus on just one aspect of the story and wrap up the story. Don't try and extend it. So screenplay was a bit of a mixed bag for me. It had its moments in isolation, but it doesn't exactly come together the way I would have liked it Not too bad, I would say, but still not the best, I would say. Coming to the technical aspects, the dialogues, the music, and the direction, I think the dialogues are pretty grounded for a commercial entertainer, and I think that was the refreshing part of the film. I really like the dialogues, weren't too over the top as well, sticking to the grounded nature and themes that it was trying to tackle. I think BGM and music by Anirudh was outstanding, and he elevated so many moments in the screenplay, by the way, that were also shot wonderfully well. The cinematography has to be the unsung hero of this film, with certain red hues or pale blue hues that are used, which actually adds a lot of depth. And there's something about shooting in the real location. It's not a CGI based green screen that you see in the studio setup. It's the actual locations that you witness, particularly the ones that you see in Sri Lanka, and that adds so much depth to the drama. It's actually a big screen experience in regards of the cinematography. Even the action choreography is pretty solid. You don't see the anti-gravity elements coming into play with people just bouncing here and there. No, it was sharp, it was accurate, it was crisp, and a lot of fun to witness. And I just hope that the writing would have supported this, because otherwise this film would have been a blockbuster for me, absolutely a blockbuster for me. But coming back to the editing, I think the editing was pretty decent, I would say. But again, it was buried under the aspect of the writing wanting to say too many things together, and I think that was the faltering block, and a major faltering block for the drama. Director Gautam, I think he does a decent job, but he's nowhere close to the prowess that he showcased with his previous. I would even include the Hindi Jersey, the Telugu Jersey film and the Hindi Jersey film. I think these were two wonderful films. The Hindi one, of course, did not work because the Hindi version of the Telugu version was already available. But sticking to this, I felt that he wanted to say too many things at the same time, and as a result, it became overstuffed and quite middling with the writing and the voice that he wanted to say. There was no clarity, and the focus, of course, was not on the emotional core. It almost made it a mandate for him to mount the film on such a large scale that the emotions just sank somewhere. And I think that is such a shame for a film like this, which had all the potential. It had all the potential. If it would hit the right spots, then I think it just needed to be little tweaked and a little focused, channelized, for this film to work in its entirety. And I think it was that close for it. But otherwise, pretty middling, I would say. Even the direction. Coming to the performances, I feel the performances are also a mixed bag, some due to the characterization also. For example, the character of Jay Prakash, played by Manish Chaudhary, very confused kind of a character, although he was very well restrained with his performance. But the character itself, was a little on the fence. I didn't know what he stood for, what was the reason behind all that he did, the antiques. If you're leaving that for the second part, it's not a good idea. You need to wrap these subplots here and right there with all the clarity that you can. And I think that is a miss here. Even the entire sequence of Bhagyashree, who's the main lead here, she's hardly there in the film. And as a result, even the romantic subplot between Suri and the character of Bhagyashree, which is Madhu, did not really make any difference to the screenplay. I mean, remove that block and the film would still be the same. It's that irrelevant at the moment. I don't know about part 2, but in the first part, it has no contributing factor. Satyadev, I think one of the reasons that this character of Shiva doesn't work is because Satyadev is very stoic with his expressions, I would say. He doesn't allow the viewers to get into the psyche of his character, to understand the conflict of morality, the same conflict that Suri, for example, would have also. I didn't see in the character of Shiva. Yes, the characterization was off as well, but so was the performance. Very mid performance, I would say. It didn't really delve into the psyche of the character, and I think it just kind of diluted the impact of the proceedings, particularly in the second hour, where the relationship had to blossom after getting to know about each other. I think that was a missing element as well. Which brings me to Vijay Deverakonda. Always a very, very talented actor, but seldom would talent meet the kind of performance that you would expect. Yes, you saw him in Arjun Reddy, a breakthrough performance, and dare I say, a wonderful, wonderful performance. You also saw him in Geeta Govindam. I loved him in that film as well. I saw him in Dear Comrade. The film was okay, but the performance was also spectacular. But then it was a very forgettable kind of a turn after that, with Liger, with the world's, what was that bachelor film? World's Best Bachelor, was it? Anyway, the point being, the point being that this was a Vijay performance that you expect every single time. He's immaculate here in the film, absolutely spot on. In fact, his character was also very tricky. To shift from an innocent constable to an absolute killing machine, a beast. And I think it was the prowess of Vijay Deverakonda that made the character convincing, as opposed to the writing that would actually give him that transition as well. It was the prowess of Vijay Deverakonda who landed the emotions and did such a wonderful job with his body language, with his expressions. I think he was fabulous here, and dare I say, this is one of the better performances, if not the best performance of his budding career. And I really hope that this talent isn't wasted. And to Vijay's point, I think he needs to also be smarter with his choices. If I have to be very honest, there's been a lot of mediocre work which has got him here to this position of not so much solidarity. But it pains me also to see that this film did not really do justice, to his performance, because the performance was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, make no mistake about it. He was on fire. He was a man possessed, hungry that I want to make this work. But the writing here messed up things a little. It just about made it a middling watch, and that is all I can say about the film. Kingdom is a bit of a missed opportunity as far as I'm concerned. Why am I saying that? Because despite a brilliant Vijay Deverakonda, the writing here is so middling that the drama in the end just feels neither here nor there. It had its moments in isolation. Everything was there. The emotional core was also there, but it didn't really translate. And I think that was the issue with Kingdom that left me a little disappointed. As I said at the start of the video, I really wanted to like it. I really wanted to like it even more. I was even questioning my judgment about the film, whether am I missing out on something, and the conclusion was no. Unfortunately, the conclusion was no. It was the film that fell short of my expectations. But if you watched the film, if you liked it, if you disliked it, drop a comment and let me know what did you make of the film. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Also remember to smash that like button if you're liking this video or loving this video, or you can also dislike the video by pressing the dislike button. Any reaction or interaction with the video helps a small creator like me. You can also share this video with your friends and family. Ask them to support, and you can view the channel, subscribe to the channel as well. Let's grow this Gigi family together. My detailed review, spoiler free review of Kingdom is available on my site, Popcorn Reviews with a double S, the link of which is in the description box below. Remember to visit my site as well. Also follow me on different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Letterboxd and Nokia. All information is available in the description box. I do not end up making a video on everything that I watch, but I do write a lot. All information is present on my site and on my social media handles. If there are any recommendations also, feel free to drop me. I promise I'll get to you soon. Life has been a little chaotic at the moment. There were issues with my site as well, which happened over the weekend. Everything is restored now. Things are moving slowly back on track, which is why I will try to at least be regular twice a week. Right now I'm once a week regular, but because of the chaotic life that is there. But stay tuned, things will get better, and please don't leave me. That's all I have, so I really wish that things are normal. I would say a little less busy. That will help me get back to your recommendations that I have an entire Excel of. But that is for another day. I'll see you soon with another video. Till then, take care of yourselves and thank you so much for your love and support. Cheers.